Peace. What's up, everybody in the Varsity Club? This is your boy Jay every day. And today, this post is going to be about the Reuben Foster case. For those of you who don't know, Reuben Foster is a football player. I believe he's from the University of Alabama, but I'm not sure. He was drafted either 2016 or 2017. However, due to some circumstances of his own making, or so they say, his draft stock fell due to those circumstances or complications involving character and whether or not any team wanted to invest, that type of money in somebody who may be a problem child. Okay. With that being said, he's ultimately taken in the second round by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, he's basically a first-round talent who's drafted in the second round. 49ers get him as a steal. Now, he has a girlfriend, and something happens, and apparently they fell out. His girlfriend's name is Alyssa Ennis, and basically, early in February of 2017, she accused him of viciously hitting her, dragging her by her hair, striking her 8 to 10 times, rupturing her eardrum, dragging her down the stairs, and throwing her dog at him. Throwing her dog at her. Reuben Foster was charged with 3 felonies. He was suspended from the team. And I don't know if they have to pay him or whatever, but she just basically damaged his reputation. Now, the first thing that Reuben Foster did, which was smart, was he didn't say anything and he didn't refute the charges. The first thing he did was hire a lawyer. I'm thinking he got a pretty credible lawyer. And like I said, he didn't say anything. And he went to court. Whatever lawyer he got must have been good, because his lawyer found footage of his then girlfriend getting into a fight with 2 women after she had left a bar after she had been drinking and driving. So when they went to court the other day, she was confronted with this information. And she basically fessed up to it. It was all a lie. He never touched me. I stole money from him. I stole 2 of his watches. All of this I did because I told him that I was going to hurt him because he broke up with me. Now, it's one thing to be accused of something in college and to carry that baggage with you as an adult and once you leave college. But as a pro athlete, it's even worse, because once that narrative has been created about you, it sticks with you. What I'm curious is to see, and I'm going to do some research on it and see what I found out, and I'm going to do a part 2 of this. I'm curious to see what's what those same commentators or same people who had so much to say about Reuben Foster when he got charged, what are they saying now about this situation? Because, you know, the liberal mainstream media, I'm sure they were ripping him a new one, and I'm pretty sure activists and feminists and everybody else had something to say. But funny, now that she's coming out and admitting in court under oath in front of a judge and a jury under cross-examination that it's all a lie, I would like to see where all of those voices are. Now, let me preface that by saying Reuben Foster doesn't help himself by having a gun, which he has every right to have a gun. But when you have a gun, it's not locked up. She knows where it's at. She may have access to it. That presents a problem for him. See, as men, you have to be smart about certain things. If I have a firearm, it's going to be in a firearm safe. And while I know there are gun rights activists out there who say, well, if I have a gun, I should be able to leave it wherever I want, this, and the third. And technically, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. If you live by yourself, you should be able to leave your gun anywhere. But if I'm living with someone, my gun is only going to be somewhere where I can access it. The only person who's going to be able to touch my gun is me. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying what he should or shouldn't have done, but that's neither here nor there. Now, it's funny, even after hearing all of this, the prosecution is not dropping the charges. They're not reducing any of their charges. They're still going forward with all 3 felony charges against him. And if you think that he won't get convicted of felony domestic assault, by a jury of beta men, and I'm pretty sure the jury is stacked with a few feminists on there. If you think they won't convict him, you're sadly mistaken. Because remember, this isn't the first time this has happened. This happened to Ezekiel Elliott too. And see, here's the thing that these athletes have to come to grips with. You have a high profile, and you move into that 1% bracket. Not in terms of finances, but in terms of having access to life-changing money. When you have a woman involved with you, a woman, especially a woman with no aspirations, no goals, who's pretty, but when you take her away from that life-changing money, that lifestyle-changing money, you're going to have a problem on your hands. Any man that has those situations have severe problems on their hands. But as athletes, and especially as young athletes, young professional athletes, you're gambling with your livelihood and your fortune when you deal with these type of women. And I know a lot of it comes down to game. A lot of it comes down to guys who, for lack of a better word, didn't get a lot of pussy growing up. So now that you have money and access and lifestyle changing, financial means, you don't have to work for pussy anymore. However, when you date these women and you don't have to use game in order for them to give you any pussy, they think that they're owed something. It's an entitlement mentality. See, that's where all of this thing that Reuben Foster's having to deal with this woman, it's an entitlement mentality. She probably thinks deep down, without saying it, yeah, I fucked this big football player, I done sucked him off, I done did everything under the sun for him sexually. I'm entitled to some of that money. And see here what happens, and you see this a lot. There's a difference from when we both started out broke and we got to this point together, as opposed to, hey, when I got with you, I was worth $200 million and we divorced 7 years later. I want half. Get the fuck out of here. Because if it was reversed, nobody says the woman should be giving the man half. So Reuben Foster has a serious problem on his hands. I don't even know if he realizes how big of a problem he has. Because remember, like I said, the prosecutor isn't reducing or dropping any of the charges. The prosecutor, and I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but he's fucked either way. They're so scared of being attacked by these feminists and by the media that they're going to pursue the charges to the fullest extent of the law. It's just funny how this shit is applied in certain cases, but I'm not going to even start on that. Now, let's see if this woman is charged with making a false report. Let's see if she's sued for defamation of character. I really want to see what consequences she pays for standing up here and lying and almost ruining this man's career. Let's see what charges she faces. Well, that's it. That's all I have to say about Reuben Foster at this time. This is only part one, so when I have an update or some new detail or wrinkle has been added to the case, I will update the page and let you know what's going on with the case. All right, Varsity Club, that's it. This is Jay Every Day, and I'm out. Peace.